Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I'm Mike, he's Jay, and when I die, I want to come back as Sandra Bullock's panties.
She is sexual in this movie.
She
oh
sure
my god,
is.
she strips off her astronaut suit. You're like, oh god,
Actually, she's not sexual in this movie because she kind of looks like a man because she has the astronaut thing on. But there's one scene
her body is
where she
sexual.
skips down to her skivvies.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, not skivvies, not like broad panties, the Star Trek screaming chick skivvies. But
she's got her fucking pants on, and you're like seeing those legs. She's got a nice ass. It's fucking amazing.
It's an unintentional throwback to Ripley's white panties scene in Alien.
It's not that short.
Nonetheless, panties.
It's not that short. It's like yoga. It's like yoga pants.
Yeah.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie. We watched it. We watched a movie. Yeah. You know what? We did a review. We watched a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, here nor there, but it's not
But
like
she's fit. She's toned.
Yeah, that's what I said. Butt cheeks
I
off
like
her
what
face.
she did with her body there.
Yeah, so Gravity,
good.
starring Sandra Bullock, George Clooney, and by the way, Jesse, we're keeping it Clooney now, so throw that out.
And space.
Yeah, so that's, you know, they're astronauts are working on I think a telescope, Hubble telescope, something like that, and this disaster happens because the fucking Russians decide they're going to launch a ballistic missile at one of their satellites to get rid of it, and the debris from that satellite is coming around the Earth and strikes their shit, and oh my god, they're floating in gravity. Without gravity, zero gravity. And that's the whole movie. It's basically trying to get back to the International Space Station, and also trying to get to the Chinese space station from there to get back to Earth before they run out of oxygen.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Yeah.
This fucking movie is intense. If anything, it's like Ridley Scott intense.
Yeah, and she's a doctor. She's not a strict astronaut. Whatever they were doing on that satellite, I forget, they explained it very sparingly, but we won't get into that. We won't spoil it or whatever.
Yeah.
But they were doing something up there to a satellite. And she's like a doctor type who trained for this, but she's not a full-on astronaut. George Clooney is like an astronaut.
Yeah, he's been there for a while.
He knows his shit. He's kind of like trying to lead her along and show her what's going on and stuff like that. But yeah, so I mean, the opening scene of this movie, first off, best special effects movie I've seen this year.
This has got to get Academy Award. I mean, if it doesn't get one, I don't know what the
For
frick
special
they're doing.
effects.
Yes, special effects definitely. I mean, even the acting's not like Academy Award winning acting. It's really good, but the special effects, I've never not just how they made special effects, but how they implemented it with 3D. It was amazing.
Yeah, well, the actors in this are good enough to where, I mean, Sandra Bullock and George Clooney are like the most seasoned that you can get, and they're good enough to be understated. Like, there's no there's no shooting for an Oscar performance. They're both really like, they're not calm in the movie, but they're not like. In moments where you would be scared, they're not like scream crying and like going batshit crazy and like knocking shit down and being overly angry. They're very understated, like their acting performance, but they're both good. They're both solid shit.
I think their acting, as far as that goes, I mean, it's realistic. I mean, if you were in that situation and you're both astronauts and you know that you're going to die if you don't get your shit together, other than Sandra Bullock, who's still kind of a rookie, she kind of loses her shit a little bit. Which I mean, anybody would lose their shit when she's like floating off in fucking space, but she still is like under control.
Clooney is cool as a fucking cucumber.
Yeah. He's like, all right, hard drinkers, drink hard, I'm buying.
He was so badass in this movie and like calm at moments. Like I was like, dust alone. You know?
I would love to be rescued by Clooney.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Who wouldn't? He not only played a doctor on ER, but he was an awesome astronaut too. So yeah, nothing sexual about it. Yeah. So, but like when we talk about intense, it was intense. Like the last space movie that I've seen, like that had this much realism and this intensity flavored throughout, was Apollo 13. But this took a dump on Apollo 13's front step, and it liked doing it. It was just like, fuck that intensity. I'm gonna take a dump on your face, Ron Howard, and it did it. Even though Apollo, no, I'm not talking now. Don't get your panties bunched up here. I'm not talking about
Apollo. In my house.
I'm not talking about Apollo 13 was still
house.
a superior movie just because it was such a special effects driven movie and Ron Howard had great actors and stuff like the storytelling was really good. But this movie in of itself, as realistic as it was, and that this shit could actually happen, and then the actors performing in such a way, I think it took a dump on Ron Howard's face as far as that's concerned. Because if you look at Apollo 13, it's still an amazing movie and still a 10 movie. It's still a movie that.
Why you always tell me to take a shit on Ron Howard's face, man?
Because you got to do that one day. But it's still one of those movies Hollywoodized. Apollo 13 was a really Hollywoodized movie.
This was very realistic. It was like open water, but well made.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So and they're up there. I mean, like, have you seen the trailer? I mean, you know what the movie's about. Only you've got it on the big screen. It's in 3D if you're smart, because 3D looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks good.
And it's in your face, and it's just awesome, and it's so like breathtaking. The scenery is. The very first scene in the movie is my favorite scene, and nothing fucking happened in it. It was just like it comes on, and it's like gravity, and then like you see the Earth. And I swear to God, the Earth is so big it made the screen, the movie theater, bigger. And I was like, how's this happening? I don't understand.
Do you feel like when you're watching, you're like, we're all just little people on this big planet?
I feel like a little worm on a big fucking hook, man. But yeah.
The whole world's in your hands.
That's amazing. The first half of the movie is my favorite, too.
Yeah, the first half was great. And I guess there was two scenes that I'm kind of floating with, whichever I like the best. Floating. I liked, there was the tether scene when he tethers Sandra Bullock when she's floating, and then the camera goes into this POV where it kind of goes into Sandra Bullock's face or her helmet, and you can see out what she's seeing.
Yeah.
Freaking amazing. And then when George Clooney would use his jet thrusters and jerker. It would jerk, her, and it would just like the way they shot it looked awesome. And then my second favorite scene, which is hard to, I don't know which one I like better, is when the space station gets hit with all this debris. It was amazing. Like I was just like, holy fuck, it looked awesome. Yeah. The score was amazing. Like as far as the musical score goes, it was great. But then most times that you wouldn't have any music, it would be just completely dead silent, which makes sense because it's in space, and that it was really effective because you would just hear them breathing and talking, which worked.
Well, the scariest thing in the world to me is being caught in the middle of the ocean by myself, like at night. In a storm,
because you got to pee the bed if you're really sleeping.
Like Tom Hanks, but in this movie pulls that off. Like what you see in the trailers when she's flying away into the darkness, or whatever. I got that fear, that sensation. It's like, ooh, that's just ooey gooey. That's like the scariest place in the world. And like when the stuff hits the space station and you're expecting this loud like this Hollywoodized scene, and it happens, and the 3D is going crazy, but there's no noise. It's almost unsettling.
That's what. Yeah, it's disturbing. That's what I think they were going for that because that shit like is just. Like you said, there's no music, there's nothing like, there's no like imparting like disaster as far as like what your ears are picking up. There's nothing there. You're just visually seeing this shit, and you're like, fuck, that's okay.
Yeah. The first
if you were floating off, what would you do? If you're floating off like that,
what the fuck can you do?
I mean, would you bitch? Would you just be like, God damn, fuck, why does this happen to me? I mean, it's like, it's me. It's always me. And then you just be like, well, I guess I'm just gonna go sleep.
I'd be the same way I was going. I would be because I hate roller coasters. I'd be the same way I am when like a roller coaster's going up for the drop. I'd just be like,
But you got freaked out though, just like, I'm gonna take my fucking helmet off. I'm just gonna suck in the air.
Fuck it!
I'm gonna suck in there and no air. I'm gonna be okay. What if you took off your helmet and you discovered something that you could actually breathe in space? It's like, those motherfuckers were liars. Now I'm just gonna fucking die of starvation.
Anyway. If I was I'd be like, Sandra, you would do it real quick. I mean, we're gonna die.
Well, you'd have to open up your suit and your wiener would fall off. It'd be frozen.
But yeah, the cinematography, everything in this movie, it's like extremely original. I mean, it is. Like, no movie's been done like this. It's so simple at times that sometimes it felt like something was missing for me.
Yeah.
I felt like something was missing from the movie. But they go into the characters' backstories a little bit. They flesh out their characters somewhat. And Clooney, just the way he acts, you can tell what kind of guy he is. Sandra Bullock's character, they give her some sort of meeting. They go back and they talk about, like, her life back home, which gives her some kind of character fleshing out. Yeah. But it's still, the movie just felt like it had something missing. As amazing as it looked, and it's one of the most inventive and innovative freaking special effects movies.
That's what James Cameron says. Most realistic space movie he's ever seen on camera.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I get that too. And you're talking about fleshing out in depth. There is depth to characters. Like they both have depth. They give a little bit more attention to Sandra Bullock than George Clooney. George Clooney is pretty much one-dimensional. I mean, I'm not saying he's bad in this movie, but he is one-dimensional. He's like this kind of space cowboy. It's his last walk, and he's trying to get her home, and everything, and he's trying to calm her down, but there's not really any depth to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't give any much backstory to him. You just know that he's the commander of the operation. He's going to get home. He wants her to get home, but that's it.
And what I love about it is there's this sandbox feel to the movie, but it's a tiny sandbox. It's like it's everything's
what
right
kind
there.
Of sandbox is there?
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like when you're in space. In most movies, when you're in space in most movies, like there's just anything can happen. It's this really high tech sci-fi feel, and like there's all this shit going on. Here, he always managed to keep Earth in the shot. Earth was right there, and the satellites were like you could almost see them from satellite to satellite.
Yeah.
Well,
you could at some point.
So it was like a Clerks version of space, like a tiny, and that made you feel more. It made you more in touch with like the scenery and stuff like that, and I liked that a lot. But
so it was basically a focus on character. It's a character-driven story more than anything else. Because if you didn't have the right actors for this, regardless of the special effects, which were fucking awesome, and that would have been in itself an amazing feat. But if you didn't have the right actors to perform what was going on around them and being able to make you believe that this shit was going on, it wouldn't have worked. Yeah. I think it would have been too stupid. Like people.
I still think the star of the show is the special effects and the scenery.
No, that is the star. Yeah. I'm just saying. But if you didn't have the right actor to anchor you to it, you'd just be like, I just want to see the special effects and I don't care what happens to her. Yeah. I mean, because at certain points you don't know if she's going to live or die. Like it really keeps you guessing from one point to another. Like you're like, oh, it's going to end here.
Yeah. This is the kind of movie that Terrence Malick is talented enough to make if he would get his head out of his own ass and stop trying to be weird and strange. But that's a side note. Whatever. I'm going to give this movie an 8.5. I enjoyed it. The special effects were some of the best I've ever seen. Probably the best of the year. It was a good time at certain points. It was really exhilarating at certain points and kind of scary. I thought the second half, just the whole thing kind of waned down and died down more and more for me as it went along. But this was an amazing movie, and it was a visual filmmaking accomplishment.
I'm going to tether myself to a 9.0. I think it's pretty fun. I think it was actually a lot of fun. It is a special effects driven movie, but it's got really good solid acting in it, which actually helps anchor, like I mentioned, to the story. It's the plot is simple. I'm not going to lie. It's not like an amazing super duper plot with aliens and fucking Enterprise coming in to save the day. I get that, but it's also realistic, so realistic that could happen. It's going to make you second guess being an astronaut. I mean, today I want to be an astronaut. Tomorrow I don't want to. And also, I really felt the gravity of their situation. I gotta keep going. I felt it really does. It makes you feel.
Bastard.
It's got intensity. It's got drama. It's got fleshed out good characters in it, and it's got action in it when it needs to have it. And it's overall a solid movie.
What did you think about Sandra Bullock's character? What she went through towards the end of the movie, like herself, like.
I like that. Like they evolved her because she was like this scared little, like I don't know what to do kind of person. And eventually, she like gets the resolve and the balls out and says, "I'm gonna fucking make it."
I liked it, but I just wanted another gear. I wanted one more gear, you know.
Well, then you'd be in Speed with Keanu Reeves.
I wanted like I don't know.
You can't go further. There was no Keanu. You got to keep the bus.
You can't triple stamp, double stamp.
Lloyd.
So that's our rating for it. The question of the day, guys, is what is your favorite
space movie?
What would you?
Have we ever done that? What's favorite space movie?
In space.
What's your favorite?
No,
what's your favorite moment with gravity? Mine was when I fell out of a treehouse one time. It hurt.
I bet it did.
It fucking hurt bad. I didn't break it.
Were you there with your boyfriend or what?
No, he was on vacation. I was there with a girl.
So yeah, what's your favorite space movie of all time involving space?
That's hard. I mean, because this is a really uber realistic one. But my favorite space movie. I mean, I got it. Event Horizon's my favorite.
It's not gonna be Star Wars.
No, because that's not. It is a space movie, but it's not like Event Horizon's like so grounded in reality.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
Event Horizon's fucking awesome.
It is a fucking awesome movie.
Sam Neill.
It's a badass movie.
She won't let you leave.
So I'm Mike. He's Jay, and we'll see you guys next time on
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
We watched a movie.